emotional roller coaster. Turn you inside out. It's the joy of victory.
I'm doing the happy dance. I'm not wearing any pants.
The fear of defeat.
Are you kidding me? Out of the gate?
And a whole month of disgust, sadness, and anger. From Disney and Pixar.
Love the face painting. Everyone's a winner. First place.
Me too. Oh, participation award.
Disney Pixar's Inside Out. In theaters June 19th.
And yes, I did intentionally pick that trailer in particular because today is March 15th, and it's Selection Sunday for March Madness coming up next week, but I really didn't pick it for that. It was just really a coincidence, but I saw it on there and figured, I'll go with that. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we are taking a look at the two big releases of June 19th, 2015, and it's a great weekend because we have two of the best movies of the year, starting off with the biggest of the two new releases, and that is, of course, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out. Growing up can be a bumpy road, and it's no exception for Riley, who is uprooted from her Midwest life when her father starts a new job in San Francisco, and like all of us, Riley is guided by her emotions. Joy, played by Amy Poehler, fear, played by Bill Hader, anger, played by Lewis Black, disgust, played by Mindy Kaling, and sadness, played by Phyllis Smith from The Office. The emotions live in headquarters, the control center inside Riley's mind, where they help advise her through everyday life. As Riley and her emotions struggle to adjust to a new life in San Francisco, turmoil ensues in headquarters. Although joy, Riley's main and most important emotion, tends to keep things positive, the emotions conflict on how best to navigate a new city, house, and school. And honestly, I think at this point, it's kind of cliche to say that Pixar is back to form, to return to form for them. But here's the thing. We're saying that a lot nowadays. We said it just recently with Hoppers. Everyone was saying, oh, Pixar is back, even though we had, Inside Out 2, we had Soul, Luca, Turning Red, Elio, Elemental. The only real bad movie was Lightyear, which, yeah, Pixar never really left, honestly. I mean, this was the same thing back then, too. I mean, we had a couple of lesser Pixar movies. I mean, Cars 2 was bad. Brave was just meh, I guess. And Monsters University was a lot of fun, but this really was a return to what made Pixar so special. Their ability to tell great stories and tug at your heartstrings too. And I think this movie really does it well. I kind of knew this movie was going to have that kind of an impact when the first trailer that came out for this movie was nothing but a collage of Pixar's previous works, and they basically give you if you saw the teaser trailer, it was a bunch of clips from Pixar movies where they're talking about the different emotions, joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness through those movies, and then they're introducing you to these new characters in particular, and for some reason, I thought when they did that, I thought to myself, I think they're getting their magic back with this one. I think they know what they're talking about, and really, this movie definitely is that. This is a damn good movie, man. One of the best movies of the year. There really are no flaws to it, just little nitpicky things here or there, like the way they kind of treat sadness in the beginning, but then again, it's kind of the point of the story. Nobody wants to be sad, and you can understand why the other emotions are like that, but it's still kind of harsh the way they treat her at first, but then again, she does play a big part later on in the movie. I really love this movie. This was probably the most perfect Pixar film they had done since WALL-E at that point. I thought the story worked very well, combining a lot of great comedy, great elements of dramatic elements, great character traits. It's interesting that the film does not have a villain, and I like the fact that around this time, they were starting to realize that we don't need a villain to make a great movie. I think the last one that we saw that had this was Hotel Transylvania. And one of the writers of this was Meg LaFair, who would later go on to write Captain Marvel. And I thought that was going to be a good sign for that movie, and it was. I don't think Captain Marvel was as bad as people made it out to be, but the characters are very likable. The voice actors are very easily fitting into their roles nicely. Poehler, Hader, Kaling, Black, and Smith all fit their parts very well. I really don't know who I like the most. It's kind of like with the Lego movie. So many good characters in that one, it's hard to choose just one. Even characters who could come off as so obnoxious, like Richard Kind as Bing Bong, he was a lot of fun. And a lot of one he's written out of the film, it's very similar to how, in Dexter's Laboratory, when Dee Dee's imaginary friend disappeared forever. He eventually comes back in later episodes, but and the emotional moments do work very well here. They are very well done. There's a lot of great moments where the emotional levels peak very high, and the ending is what got to me, and where the story wraps up. I thought it was brilliantly done. I mean, these movies clearly know what they're doing when they're trying to give you a story that is refreshing and doesn't feel like it's forcing emotions out of you quite literally. I thought Inside Out 2 was a perfect example of that, but the animation overall is great. Not only is this Pixar at its best, but this is where they get very creative. There's a great scene where they have to enter abstract thought, and they go through all these different forms of animation, 3D and 2D, and it's a really impressive thing overall. And really, there's not much more I can say about this movie that hasn't already been said already. It's a great movie. It's one of the best movies of the year, easily. There's so much about it that works. A lot of it that's fun, very funny, great characters, a lot of emotions. It's Pixar returning to what we've been waiting for them to do since Toy Story 3. It's a towering achievement. Can't recommend it enough. The short that starts it, on the other hand, is a completely different story. Yeah, let's briefly talk about that Lava, which I know some people like it, but I didn't like it. I really did not. I thought it was kind of bad overall. So if you don't know, it is a tropical island in the Pacific, a lonely volcano named Uku, who watches the wildlife creatures frolic with their mates and hopes to find one of their own. Find one of his own. He sings a song in the ocean each day for thousands of years, gradually venting his lava and sinking into the water, but does not realize that an undersea volcano named Lele has hurt him. She emerges on the day that Uku becomes extinct, but her face is turned away and she cannot see him. Uku sinks fully into the ocean, heartbroken, but revives when he learns Lele sings a song. He emerges again, this time face to face with Lele, and the two form a singular island where they can be happy together. I don't have a problem with the music itself. It's actually a song by the guy who did that great version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Izzy Kamakawioli. I think I pronounced that right, but at least I thought that's what it was at first, but it turns out it was mostly because Israel had been dead since 1997, so that wouldn't make too much sense. And the song is actually sung by Kawana Torres Kaheli. I don't have a problem with the song itself. It's a nice song overall, but it's the story of the short that kind of makes no sense to me. You can't really take those lyrics and make it into a story that makes any sense here. You can do that for other songs, but here, it just didn't work. It makes no sense whatsoever. I shouldn't have to look at the short with two anthropomorphic volcanoes going, this makes no sense at all. This is Pixar. They should be able to make that work, and I don't know. Me personally, I just didn't get into it. It's kind of a thing where it might just be me that doesn't like it, but I'm asking Pixar to make way too much sense over that, but hey, they still made a great movie overall, so I'm not gonna hold that against them. No, I'll save that for The Good Dinosaur later in the year, where you actually have the better short of the year that came out. But it's funny that the best short of the two came out on their worst movie of that year, while the worst short they've done that year came out on the best movie they've done that year. But yeah, but we'll get to that eventually. So that's Inside Out for you. So let's go ahead and move on to our last film that we have here. Movie that I really loved when it came out. This I think was my favorite movie of the year, and that is Dope.
School and you think you're gonna get into Harvard? Who do you think you are? I be seeing you and your little friends job flat tops and MC Hammer pants.
Stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you used to.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, you can see why this movie didn't do so well at the box office, because of a marketing campaign that was pretty much, we don't know how the fuck to sell this movie in general. And that's how I really thought going into this movie. I thought it could be good, but I wasn't really getting my hopes up on it. But man, I'm glad I saw it, because I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie a lot. Like I said, this is my favorite movie of 2015. Shameik Moore plays Malcolm, who's carefully surviving life in a tough neighborhood in Los Angeles while judging college applications, academic interviews, and the SATs. A chance invitation for an underground party leads him into an adventure that could allow him from being a geek to being dope, to ultimately being himself. This is a great movie. It combines a lot of great elements of films I love, like Do the Right Thing, Friday, and Superbad. In fact, it is very much like this generation's Friday. You'll see what I mean when we get later on here. But it's also a little bit of a mix between that and also North by Northwest, where you do see the main character getting caught up in a situation that he didn't find himself getting involved in, and trying to use his smarts to get out of the situation. And that's what I really like about this movie. It presents a lead black character that's smart. He's not a thug. He's not obnoxious. He's a smart enough person. He gets straight A's, and he knows not to fuck around with the worst kind of people he ends up dealing with at the wrong place at the wrong time. And even when he has that worst kind of stuff happen to him, he does find a smart way of getting to it. I mean, he has 4 things of drugs in his backpack, and the fact that he manages to make it through the movie without getting caught by the police or the bad guys is really impressive. I mean, there's a great scene towards the end where the bully of the high school takes the money from him, Malcolm forces a gun on him, and you get the sense of what Craig would do Martis did in Friday against Debo. Like he knows that he could easily end this by shooting him, but he realizes that by doing that, he creates more havoc for his neighborhood than there is now. And that's one of my favorite scenes in movies from that scene from Friday. But I like the fact that they did something new and unique with it here. Shamik Moore is great in this. He plays Malcolm. He's great in the movie. He's got a bright future ahead of him, as we see in the Spider-Man movies. Although there's some other things that if for another time that we'll touch on that were probably not the best moves on his part. But he's a great actor. He's a great actor overall. But he's got his friends played by Kirstie Clemons and Tony Revolvi. They're great. Zoe Kravitz is really good playing Malcolm's love interest, and even with the braided hair, still looks really good, man. She looks pretty sexy in this. The chemistry between her and Malcolm are really good. Blake Anderson from Workaholics has a great role in this. Roger Guinevere-Smith and Austin Jacoby was pretty good in this. It's a really good movie, man. It's a great dramedy about a kid who gets caught up in a bad situation and uses his brains to get out of it without having his name really attached to it. The cast is great. The comedy is great. The message of the movie is strong. The drama works. It's just such a really, really good movie, and it pains me. It's one of those ones where it really hurts me that this thing did not become the hit that I thought it was going to be. I mean, this should have been a big hit. I mean, this movie was a lot of fun. It was a really good movie. Like I said, it's my favorite movie of 2015. If you have not seen Dope, see Dope. It is definitely worth it. It is literally dope. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll wrap June up with 3 big releases, including the sequel to one of the big surprise hits from a couple years ago. I thought this came out the same weekend as another comedy sequel we'll get to next week, but no, Ted 2. Ted 2 comes out this weekend. We'll see if it matches up to the first film. We also have the dog movie Max, and we also have Samuel L. Jackson starring in the action film Big Game. So, 3 films to take a look at. We'll take a look at them all tomorrow on the show, so stay tuned for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.